Good morning. We will call the Town of South Kingstown School Building Committee meeting to order at 8:04 today, June 18th. And I will start with a roll call. Brian Sylvia?
Here.
Mark Russo?
Here.
Dave Palazetti?
Here.
Michael Pedraza?
Here.
Kate Massananti, I'm here. Luke Murray?
Here.
Chip McGarr?
Here.
Terry Lynch?
Here.
And Jim Manny is here. Almost a full house. And we have Gil Bain, Studio Jade, and Left Field. My brain's just waking up. I only had a half a cup of coffee this morning, so. All right. Public correspondence, I'm not recalling any since the last meeting. Grab Brian's.
No, we have not received any additional correspondence.
All right, great. And new business. I have the recommendation for approval of change order task force just as a standing business item. We do not have any, correct?
We do not. We are going in front of Town Council this upcoming Monday to review and approve the change orders that we discussed at our previous meeting. And then the next round that you guys will see coming in front of you are related to some AV changes regarding display, recording, streaming capabilities within the auditorium, as well as making sure we've got connectivity for some of those display boards.
Okay.
So those are a couple things in the hopper, but nothing now.
All right. So I have new South Kingstown High School project updates. As an update, I do have the auditorium broken out as an act because it has. I believe we will probably take an action on it. So we'll just start with the updates, and then when it's time to take action, we will.
Do you want to start with the auditorium, or do you want to just go through the regular project?
We'll just go through the regular, and then when we get there, we'll break it out.
All right. As we look at every 2 weeks, as we're tracking our red line along the bar, we're getting close to about 40% complete with the new South Kingstown High School's construction phase. And then I'll invite Mark up if you want to talk through our 4-week look ahead, and then we've got some photos to share.
All right.
This one's not touch screen.
Oh, it's not? All right. Perfect. Okay, so quick 4-week look ahead. Again, just want to point out what you won't see is any more steel or any more concrete pours. Those are completed, other than some miscellaneous small things that have no impact to the abutters. So what biggest thing we're doing now is getting the envelope completed. So we're trying to get weather tight, both along the walls and up on the roof. So that entails us putting on the spray fireproofing over the sheathing that you see now on the academic tower, and subsequent walls as you work your way east. So that's an ongoing activity that will enable us to then start the brick work, which is scheduled probably the first week in July, I think, right now. So we should see some brick going on the beginning of July. The roof is complete in Area A, so we are weather tight over the academic tower, and we are working our way east over areas B and E. Those will take about 3 weeks probably to get weather tight. Interior, we're continuing the exterior sheathing and framing on the east side of the building. So we're going down the auditorium, wrapping our way around the CTE. You'll see the exterior walls and the sheathing start to go on there. And gymnasium block. So the block is about 8 feet high on 2 out of the 4 walls of the gymnasium. That continues all the way up to 20. So that'll be an ongoing activity over the course of the next few weeks. But that's kind of neat to see if you want to see the gymnasium being built. We have started the interior framing of the academic tower on the 2nd floor. So I would say 85–90% maybe of the interior framing of the academic tower's 2nd floor is completed. That includes MEPs, so all the ductwork, the electrical, the plumbing, all of that is going in. Bathrooms are being built, the carriers are in the wall, plumbing stacks are being finished. So second floor of the academic tower looks pretty interesting from an interior standpoint. And we will move up to the third floor next, and then finish up with the first floor well after. And right now on the outside of the building, we are bringing up the base course of the gravel, so that will bring us up to the ability to pave the first course of pavement around the building and the parking lot. So we've moved all of the workers out of the parking lot on site into the school's senior parking area for the summer. Which will enable us now to get that first course of pavement down, and that's got a couple of pluses. It's going to help with the neighborhood and the dust. It's going to help us with ease of getting around the building, and next winter down the road, it'll help us with snow plowing. So that's kind of where we are in a nutshell for the next 4 weeks. I'll take any questions. Any?
I just had one. You're talking about the parking area, and I'm just in my mind going back. Electric charging stations.
Yep.
Do we have any? Because I knew there was a state law that came out that you had to have a certain amount.
We do.
Okay.
There's an electric charging station that's out at the teacher parking area, out in that area, the east half of the building. And then there's also one in the front where the school bus loop is. So
All right,
there's
so
two,
those
there's
are
two.
conduits are in and
Yeah,
everything?
electrical for slight lighting, for the charging stations, for cameras, that kind of thing, have all been run out.
Okay. Good to know in case it comes up, we get a question.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure. All right.
Just one question for Mark. On that parking lot that you're doing over by, so that's the small parking lot to the north?
The east, the teacher parking lot on the east side is the parking lot I'm referring to, like closest to Brown Street.
Not the ones up next to the school street apartments, that area?
Yes.
That
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that one.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, is that sheet flow, or do you have drains in there?
Oh, all the underground drainage is in, all of the catch basins are
Yeah,
in.
but they're going to be raised when you get the binder?
We are. Once we get the binder down, we'll bring all the catch basins up to binder level so that we
Just to
can...
the binder level, not to an inch above the binder level? Okay, perfect.
And then we'll bring it up again when we do final paving.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
the contractors will leave them elevated, and then you flood the neighbors. So,
Yeah, no, that's a good
thank
point.
you.
Yeah, no, all of our underground drainage is in. Everything should be flowing to the underground detention basins, keeping everything on site. And that includes the roof as well. So all of the roofs that I'm referring to that are being completed all have their roof drains tied in. All of the piping through the building from the roof drains are all tied down into the underground system. So we should not be seeing any runoff from the project site into the neighbors.
All right, so just to touch on these items quickly, as we mentioned in our last one, we are done with all of our major concrete slab pours, so majority of our after-hours work should be behind us. We did keep on here as well that the site will be lit for the 4th of July, just to deter anybody from utilizing our gorgeous vantage point for fireworks watching. And then the vibration monitoring we discussed will be set up on Monday, in support of the work that Mark was just referring to regarding the compaction for the faculty parking lot.
And that'll only run like 1 or 2 weeks?
Yeah, I would say two or 3 weeks to be safe for the compaction.
Okay.
But I do want to touch back on what Kate was mentioning on the site lighting for the 4th of July. So right now our lights turn off at 6 o'clock, and then it needs to be physically switched on if anybody wants to turn the lights on for a night, and then it would need to be physically switched off whenever that time frame of wanting them on. So I think that needs to, we currently are not planning on that. So right now the lights would be off at 6, and it would require somebody to physically come onto the site to turn the lights on for the event, if that's the wish, and then at the end for somebody to physically turn that off. But I want to be clear, we're currently not
So
planning
that sounds
on
like that's a town,
I would say on a town level, like
Yeah.
I'm assuming either like the way we have it set up with that ability to do what I just mentioned would be in case there was an event, any event, where the police or the fire would need to get into the site and turn everything on to see what's going on. So I would probably say that maybe that should be put into their hands to do.
Yeah, so
And we can work with them on the details on
Yeah.
how to do that. And
it's a town level action.
Correct.
To make sure those lights are on. We have the ability to do it, so it needs to either police, fire, Parks and Rec.
Anybody.
Like whoever is going to, we don't need to determine who that is, but the town should determine who's going to turn it on and turn it off night of 4th of July.
Yep.
Where is that switch again?
So gate B, which is the gate, the sliding gate, which is up towards the academic tower side, not down by the apartment side.
Is it on School Street?
It's on School Street,
Yeah.
yep. And right now, the fire department has a joint lock on it with their own key or their own combination, I can't remember which it is, but the fire department has their own lock on it, which enables them to do their lock, which would open the gate without it worrying about our lock. So that the ability to open the gate is through the fire department currently, and as soon as you come into that gate, you're going to see a red light that's lit up, and the switch for it is right underneath it. And I'd be happy to meet with whomever, anytime, any day, to just walk through what that procedure is.
I'll talk to the police chief and coordinate with you, but we would need access to the police department, would need access as well, in case there's a rescue that needs to get in there or
Yep.
whatever, all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Okay.
All right. And then we get to look at some pretty photos. Let me try and zoom in a little bit further so you guys can see the drone flight. At this point, this is a couple weeks old at this point. These things move really quickly, but it really is an impressive vantage point. These drone shots are really cool. And as we go, we've got several of them from similar vantage points to be able to do kind of a time lapse and review the progress of the building over time.
So I have a question. Having this view is super helpful when it comes to what you were talking about with the paving of the parking lots and being able to pave certain other areas. So I continue to have huge concerns for when the building is open and the old building is not taken down yet as far as traffic flow and parking for our faculty, staff, and students. So I'm curious as to when you do the paving for, like, how far are you paving along this side too, where these trucks are?
Yeah, so currently, we will be paving just the roadway, not the parking lots or anything, back where this cursor is. And it'll be that roadway that comes along all the way down here, and then it will turn, we'll pave this whole parking lot right there on our way by, and continue on right to the curb cut that goes out onto School Street, and then we'll be paving the bus loop, or it is the bus loop, and the parking areas that are associated with it on this side, all the way again to the exit onto School Street.
Okay.
All right, so from a standpoint of when we open up the building, that's what will have its pavement. You'll have this roadway here, you'll have your teacher parking lot 100% complete, you'll have the roadway that leads out this way, the bus loop and all of the parking associated with it, and the roadway out here. There will be a little bit over here that we are attempting to, which is eventually part of the parking lot back here. We're trying to get a hunk of that will be available for school opening as well.
Okay. All right, so we just want to, however we're approaching the, kind of that part of the process, we just want to make sure we keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I just want to restate for the record, Mark mentioned it, we will have very limited student parking for the first half of the
Sure.
year that this building is open. So I want to make sure that that is clear and understood. We will not have the full student parking lot until the second half of the following year after the building is open.
Kate, remind me, do we have an interim plan, like that opens up the existing parking lot to the new roadway that you're gonna pave? Like when the school opens, did Garofalo do a transition plan?
We have logistics plans. We can pull those up and review them. That was an effort we did very early on.
Yeah.
So I apologize if I don't recall off the top of my head. But they will need part of that back parking lot area. I mean, we can discuss demolition, right? They can't start abatement, clearances, and demolition until after the new building is open, right? We're starting that work in the beginning of the summer, so the entirety of that summer will be focused on abatement and demolition, but shortly after that building comes down, we are going to need that parking lot area. They're going to be doing all of that regrading there, so they'll have to take over that entire portion of the site.
But there'll be a whole school year where that's not the case, right? So we open in September, and then you have that whole school year where is demo happening during that school year as well?
Yeah.
It will start
Yeah,
in the middle of the
fall
school year?
That fall of school year, we'll be doing our demolition.
Okay.
And that whole area back there where student parking currently is will not be available. It'll, between the fence line that we have to establish and our own, that's probably where our own parking is going to be for our workers and whatnot. So I would say we would not want to plan on anything where current student parking is to be
Okay.
available for the
Good to
opening.
know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess the bottom line point I was getting at is it's probably time to start looking at that, because as we're paving parking, if there's stuff that needs to be transitioned to set up, probably now's the time to do it, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. We do need to come up with a full plan, so Chip, you can communicate that to the students if we're limiting students' ability to park on site. I think we need to just quantify how many spots will be available for students. The faculty lot will be fully open. It really is more impactful for the students that
It's
drive to school.
impactful for the community because the students will still drive.
Yeah.
And so.
Good point.
We have the seniors, I mean, I think at the first half of the year, if I'm not mistaken, do juniors drive? Or they usually don't have their license.
No, at this point, you can anticipate that every junior and every senior who is going to drive is driving.
Yeah.
So we have enough space for the seniors on campus currently.
Right.
The juniors are down at OMF for
Yeah.
the most part, yeah.
So that's going to be the problem. As a community, we're going to be faced because you're going to have seniors and juniors trying to find parking in the community. So we just,
And then you really start picking up sophomores as the year goes along,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
We don't get less drivers as the year
Yeah.
goes along. We wind up getting more drivers. So it
That's
works.
why the conversation needs to start.
Yeah, I mean the good news is that our largest class is going to be a senior class this year.
Okay.
Then they're all pretty much around the same. So this is a little bit larger of a class. So they're 20 spots could make a big difference with whatever our plan is. So they will be seniors this year and then graduating. So then our remaining classes are all around the same size. So that is a little bit of a help there.
Yeah.
But overall, we're going to have, it's not every kid driving their own car, but you're probably looking at 250 to 300 spots that
Sure.
you need for between what's public parking and the on-campus parking.
Yeah.
Well, and if we start the communication with the families so that they know that it's going to be a situation that some of them may choose to have bus ridership, but we're not going to bank on that. But so we need to have a community plan in place because it will impact the bowling alley. It will impact all the neighbors. It'll impact the church. It'll impact the guild. It'll impact everybody.
Yeah.
So
Despite our best efforts,
Correct,
they
yeah.
will park in places
Absolutely.
they're not supposed to.
yeah, I do
And if-
as an adult.
Yep.
So
as they're desperate to get to school, they will park wherever the heck there's a spot.
Yep.
And that's going to create a lot of ripples. I think we definitely need to have a plan.
yep.
Yeah. So Chip, I'll work with you and we'll set up a cadence of meetings to talk logistics and planning.
Well, I'm happy to participate, but I think ultimately it's going to be more of it's really going to be heavy town involvement on this because we're talking about off-campus parking. And so
Yeah.
I'm happy to help facilitate from the school side, but it's going to have to be more of a town-led thing because we're talking about off-campus parking and how are we going to accommodate that?
Let's just get a meeting together
Yep.
of school and town, and we'll work it out. We have time, we'll work it out.
Yep, will do.
And I can certainly help a lot with the messaging to families and to the kids, but ultimately the decision is going to have to be one that's made by the town.
All right, a few more photos for you. Exterior framing and sheathing in Area E, that block wall assembly Mark was talking about. All right, some MEP rough-ins, level 2 of Area A. Yep, and interior framing, thank you. It's pretty exciting being able to look down the hallway. Yeah. Preparation for the AVB, that's going up over our sheathing. That's it for photos. It's looking like a building. It's looking like a high school. Yeah.
You can envision like the fly-through.
All right.
This is old hat for all you building people. I'm just used to, redoing kitchens and bathrooms in my house. So.
And I've been doing this almost 20 years. I still find it exciting.
Is that it for the overall
That's it
updates?
for the high school update.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's move to C, discussion action, the South Kingstown High School project auditorium stage needs.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. We are aware that there is a large lift at the existing stage, a scissor lift that you all use. And we want confirmation that you plan on bringing that over, because currently we are structurally investigating whether what we have in terms of framing is adequate to support that, or if we need some additional framing. Gilbane is going to be on the heels of doing this. I think we can have this resolved by Monday. We just want confirmation that your intent is to continue to use that scissor lift over at the new high school. That's really, we just want to make sure that's the plan still, as opposed to ladders or something you plan on putting something else.
I'm going to make the assumption with these folks that yes, we're going to be intending to use that. So I'm assuming that'll be a change.
It may. So our structural engineer is working on it. Mark provided me a picture of it. We were able to track down the unit weight and everything else. Our structural engineer is looking at the assembly we have, and I'll have an update for us on our Monday meeting.
Okay. Do we need to take action then, or it's just information you're going to share, and then if a change order is put in place, then it will go through the proper process?
Correct.
And that's it. I'm talking to Mark, the gym floor is fine, correct? Because it'll be used in the gym as well.
Yeah, the gym floor is slab on grade.
Yeah, okay. Just making
With
sure.
obviously a wood structure, but
Just making sure.
yeah.
What's the framing on the stage?
It's structural cold form framing. It's a platform. And I'll tell you where some of this, where the changes probably came from, there was maybe a period in time where it would have just been a slab on grade when we had the balcony. And then when we were talking about the balcony, is it in or is out, we changed how the balcony was framing, and then we brought that same assembly of cold form metal with concrete deck to this platform as well. So we just want to make sure that we get this unit covered on your platform, that's all.
Should be fine.
All right. So then with no action there, that brings us to solar-ready discussions around the South Kingstown High School.
All right. So in follow-up to the previous conversations that we've had, we are preparing to present to Town Council this upcoming Monday a quote from Newport Renewables. It was procured off of the master price agreement for power optimizers and a few inverters. This would equate to 5% of the total estimated cost of what the system could be, which would safe harbor those federal incentives that we are looking to go forward with. Again, the incentives that are currently in place would require our system to be fully operational at the end of the year in 2027. It's a pretty tight window for us. This is really securing that we'll still be eligible for that up to 40% reimbursement from the federal government. So the proposal that we're putting in front of council is a cost of $80,185.89.
I'm assuming, because that is a percentage of the actual cost, I'm assuming you're going to be presenting the full number to them. They're going to
No.
want it. I'm guessing they're going to ask about it.
So We do not have
I
a
mean,
full
they could
number.
do the
We
math
have-
and be like, okay, this is 5% of, but you're going to see 5 people going.
Yeah, so
So-
we have, right, so the estimated value is about $1.5 million, but it is an estimate. At this point, we've received estimates, we've worked with Newport Renewables in a consultant type of agreement, but we are not looking to procure the entire system off of the master price agreement. So we will be this fall issuing an RFP for a full system, which gives the opportunity for multiple bidders to come in and bid on it. The equipment that we're purchasing now can be utilized by any of these vendors. It is not proprietary. We'll write that into the RFP that these pieces of equipment are already owned and they will utilize that in their install. And so we don't have a final number because we have to go out to bid for those pieces of equipment.
Okay, just to note, the memo is not to exceed 81,000, so if it comes up, just a little bit of flexibility in case, we're off a few cents. I don't have to come back to council.
Yeah.
Question though, and this may come up, what happens if we go out to bid and we're at a $2 million system and we've locked in 5% of the wrong number?
That's a good question. I'd have to go back to Stuart with that.
Because, this is what makes me a little, like you're saying 1.5 million, and we're assuming it's going to be lower than ideally, but if we're higher, then we're not at 5%, we're at 4%, we just lost our lock-in.
True. I mean, I could spitballing, and I'd rather have Stuart speak technically to this. We could always just reduce the system so that we are installing a $1.5 million system. It could be expanded later, but we're still securing that reimbursement. So
Okay.
that would,
So I've already gotten calls on this from vendors, thinking that we're going off the MPA without going through a bid process. I've assured them we're not. But the question's going to come up Monday, and I think you should be prepared for this answer. The optimizers have to go in now because it's part of the construction. It can't be put in later. Is that correct?
we have to purchase it now to be able to secure our incentive, the
Okay.
30 to 40% incentive
Okay.
from the federal government.
Yep, so you'll be asked that question.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, this is the safe harboring. This is,
Yeah.
this purchase alone, the standalone purchase, this is not a commitment to Newport Renewables for the entire system. This is just a purchase of these pieces of equipment from Newport Renewables because we have to have this purchase issued and payment issued by the 4th of July. So, or by the 3rd, because the 4th is a Saturday. So this is securing that reimbursement, which is a sizable amount of money that comes back to the town.
Okay.
So,
I know
but
you
we
yep.
do intend to bid the remainder of the
Explain it
system.
exactly like that when you're
Yes.
asked that question. Thank you.
Will do.
And I'll just note, I put a pretty substantial explanation. I went on some websites and kind of created a summary of the whole safe harboring and existence and stuff. So if anybody actually reads it, it's there.
I'll bring a copy and read from it.
Do we need a motion at this point?
On that one, I don't think we need a motion because we already addressed that.
The only question I would have is, do we need a motion to recommend the approval of the quote or the purchase?
I thought we already did that. I thought we did that last meeting.
We recommended that moving forward, we didn't have the final dollar value yet, so I don't know if that's necessary.
We don't need to do anything. Town council is going to take a purchase action. That's
Okay.
all that's needed
Okay.
at this point. I think later on, if the solar, we get everything back, maybe
Once
can
we get the
provide a
full,
recommendation on
once we get the
system.
bids back for the full system, we'll absolutely bring the bids back for evaluation to the building committee.
All right. I think we're good on that topic. So Curtis Corner project updates, if any.
We do have some updates here. Let's get back. Our overall visual schedule with where we are right now. Just a quick 4-week look ahead on demolition milestones. So removal of contents in control groups 5 and 6 are ongoing. Containment and abatement is beginning in groups 5 and control group 5 and 6, which I'll pull up momentarily. Control group 3 is near completion, and continuous environmental consultant monitoring is ongoing. So just 5 and 6 are these little yellow slivers here. Everything in green has been abated and cleared to this point. So we've still got this center section to go. We are looking at about 3 weeks out to begin the demolition process. Looking at the athletic field bidding schedule, Studio Jade, their athletic consultant, and Garofalo are pulling together the bidding documents to send over to the town on the 25th of June. We are looking for July 30th for bids to come back on the athletic field's scope of work. And we are looking for the 30th to come back to the building committee and August 10th for town council for approval of the bids for the construction of the athletic fields.
Okay,
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
I'm going to need, because we need to advertise, this is next week,
Yes.
and we have a holiday and everything else, so in order to get in the paper, I need to have the advertisement done Monday. So just, we're going to have to quickly, if this is going out on Friday, next Friday, right, is that next Friday?
So
Somewhere in there?
we have everything prepared for Julie, and I used her timeframes for our demolition project and applied them here. So I think we'll be in good shape, and
Okay.
we can follow up after the meeting because I do need to ask her for the bid number. But I think we'll be in good shape. So
Okay.
Julie will have everything she needs with enough time to do what she needs to do.
All right, let's talk offline.
Yep.
I was just going to ask, in terms of going back, in terms of the demolition schedule, if, given the administration building and summer registration, will there be any need to cut power to the area or anything within when the demolition begins, any impact to the administration building and or access?
They're separate. Right now, the access issues for power that we were looking at were for the concession stand and the bathroom facilities that are further out. But because the demolition and abatement process has taken longer than we had anticipated, it kind of works out naturally that we may be further past those needs in the summer if we're looking at mid-July, August for demolition of the building. We'll be further into the summer. It'll be a little bit less impactful.
Do we need and/or want school committee approval on anything?
Yes, that's a great point. We should work school committee into the schedule as well so that they can review. They can at least review the scope of work because I don't believe that they vote on award of the bids, but we would like to present to them to make sure that they're comfortable with the scope. I know that they've been involved in the previous design review processes and not much has really changed since then, other than kind of future-proofing our concession stand and entrance area. But yes, we can absolutely go back to school committee and give a presentation.
Okay, so we'll want to, I don't know what our meeting schedule looks like this summer. It's kind of, in previous summers, we've had a lot of stuff going on, so we've maintained our normal schedule through the summer, and I don't know that that was the intention for this summer, so we'll have to find a date, either that or we join the town council and kind of have a joint meeting.
Okay.
I would say that's, we can't take bids in the same day we're recommending. I mean, this is not a realistic schedule.
So we have to, we will absolutely work through some of the bugs on here. We want to just kind of talk about.
I'm not against expediting, but we can't make a recommendation the same day we take bids in. We haven't vetted them, we haven't.
So there's a little bit more of a comprehensive schedule.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Just want to be, I don't want to put schedules out we set expectations that are false. So I'm cautious on this. We've talked about this. Set up realistic expectations on schedules. Continue to do that, please.
All right. And then last item on Curtis Corner is relating to the butter meeting currently scheduled for July 9th. So
Yeah, we should pick a location though.
yes,
We don't have to, but
probably not in Curtis Corner, yeah.
probably not Curtis Corner. Unless it's a nice night, we can take a walk, but maybe the admin building if it's available or something. We want to be convenient towards the abutters, similar to what we've done with the high school. So I appreciate this. I think Justin played a big hand in this, so thank
Yes,
you, Justin.
absolutely. Right.
Then we have, that's it for Curtis Corner, and then we have a discussion action. Submit schematic design site work phase 3 at Curtis Corner to RIDE School Building Authority.
Yeah, what I wanted to do was just accelerate this. Kate presented the schematic design layout for Phase 3 at our last meeting. What I'd like to do, estimating is ongoing right now, what I'd like to do is get a recommendation from the building committee to submit schematic design to the RIDE review portal. They have been taking a little bit longer on all of their reviews statewide. So we would like to just get this in the queue early, and the bar is relatively low at schematic design. So I'm comfortable that we have the documentation we need when we receive the estimate as well, along with your approval to submit. Then we can go ahead and make that submission and get it into the queue. That was all.
Anyone have any thoughts, questions, comments, or make a motion?
If it needs, or if this is appropriate to go to the school committee, I would need to know today. I could get it to next week's agenda.
This submission is just, it's just my understanding. We've done this multiple times throughout the process, and we don't need school
Just wasn't sure if they
No.
wanted to have eyes on it, we could get it onto next
Not for
Tuesday's
schematic,
agenda.
not for schematic design. I don't know if you want
I
to.
would say maybe when we update the school committee on the athletic field, we can give them the high-level concept for what Phase 3 will look like. But similar to all these projects, what we submit in schematic design evolves until we're ready to go out to bid.
Okay.
We've seen like multiple designs. Which one are we submitting?
The one with the turnaround. The one Kate presented, there was one presented at the last building committee meeting.
Then if costs come in and we need to make revisions, no issue with RIDE. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no issues with RIDE, number one. Number two is, this has been an iterative process. We're tracking how the budget is on the high school. What will the bids come in on the athletic fields? All of this influences the extent of work that we're going to be able to do in Phase 3. So RIDE is not going, we have adjusted much bigger actual projects that impact teaching and learning than we will the site improvements at Curtis Corner.
Yes, again. And I do want to apologize. I just double-checked our schedule, and it was a typo. It is the 23rd that we're looking for bids to be due, not the 30th. So that was a typo for a last-minute ad. I apologize. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, I'll do that.
So I'll make a motion to recommend, are you waiting on some? Or are you pulling something out?
I was gonna, we were gonna
Oh,
pull
all
up, we were gonna
right.
pull up the
I thought you
updated.
were done.
I'm sorry. This is our schematic design that we are going to be working with you folks on developing more during design development. But there includes a number of components here, making sure that we've allocated a location for future pickleball court down at the bottom of the page. We are proposing that we move 2 tennis courts closer to the admin building so that we can continue the road through the site, as Onion Street is more geared towards a bike path, pedestrian use, access way. Providing new parking and a clear entrance into the administration building, which will remain, that is on the left-hand bottom corner, providing adequate parking for the main stadium in the middle, and an area by the end of the track for basically utility type of functions. Emergency vehicles, dumpsters, containers. Bus parking, we have identified some there. We'd also think it may be located up at the upper parking area. There's a balance between using a lot of asphalt for bus parking that may not be that efficient. So this is our schematic design. And as I said, it will develop through design development and construction documentation, because we're still holding placeholders for these field houses, which may surface depending upon how costs progress through the building, as well as our ongoing discussion with RIDE on how this could be reimbursed and what the pathway is there. So I'm comfortable submitting this to RIDE with the estimate that we'll get, and that estimate will also influence, some decisions we'll be making.
When the track was usable, we used to run meets, and we used to park up on the upper field, and we used to use South Road School too when we owned it. So we've had big meets there. We've been able to put buses a lot of places. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to submit to RIDE.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so that passes. Thank you, Phil. That moves us to public comment. There is no public here. And that brings us to our next meeting date and time, which would be scheduled for July 2nd. I personally will not be here.
I won't be able to be
I'll be
here
out of
either.
town as well.
So I'm guessing that we will not have a quorum. So do we want to look at the 9th or wait till the 16th? I guess that determines the decision.
I mean, it's
needs to
tough
be
to
made.
get room space. I guess my question is, do we have anything critical for the 2nd? Because we're kind of in a dead zone with the holiday. So is it important that we have that meeting, or could you think we could just forego it? Kate? thoughts?
Do we need
I mean,
anything voted on, moved on, acted on before July 16th?
I mean, you guys, if you could just, you're going to have a town council update, our first meeting in July, right? 13th,
It's at the 6th.
I'm thinking if you want to push
13th.
out a schedule update, in basics, early July, as just an FYI to the committee, and then we just forego the meeting. Is that good with you? Or?
Sounds good. So will that move us, I guess my question is then, do we go with the 9th or the 16th? Because the school, the town council meeting will be what, the 9th or the 6th or the 13th? Town council, yeah, 6th or 13th. Do we want our meeting before, does it matter?
I don't think it matters. It's going to be a general update, I think, at this,
Yes.
at the
In July?
13th meeting.
Okay.
So, and we don't have anything to vote on, right, to recommend, or no critical paths?
I don't think we'll be able to turn on pricing and change the task force in time to hit that date anyway.
Okay.
All right,
so
so,
let's
so,
do
but
16th.
if all of a sudden something comes up and we need to pull folks together, we'll pull folks together. All right, so as of right now, our next meeting will be July 16th, 8 a.m. here. And with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We have adjourned.